Welcome to K1 Action Star. Watch. Things kick off in San Francisco when two FBI agents, John Crawford and Tom Lone, find themselves smack in the middle of a crazy shootout between the Chinese triads and some mysterious group. With years of hard work at stake, they dive right into the action. As they move through the chaos, they come across dead bodies and get into a heated exchange of bullets. Crawford, caught off guard by a stray shell, quickly teams up with Tom, and they both go all in, trying to stop a deadly assassin on the loose. While walking along the dock, Crawford gets shot in the shoulder, but then, by some miracle, the shooter takes a bullet to the face and drops into the water. Crawford quickly tells Tom about the Yakuza hiring a rogue assassin who used to work with the CIA, but went off the rails and killed 5 agents. As cops flood the scene, the two flash their FBI badges and try to explain what just went down. A few days later, Tom's at home with his family when a man with a gun shows up outside. He storms in, kills Tom without mercy, and leaves his wife and kid to burn in their house. Crawford gets woken up by his wife, Jenny, and rushes to Tom's place. He flashes his badge to get through the heavy police presence and is hit hard when he sees the bodies. Inside, he finds a familiar bullet casing, sparking his need for answers. 3 years pass, and a new player known as Rogue shows up at a fancy club. He takes out the guards easily, and before long, the Yakuza are all over him. After some silence, they send in dogs to sniff him out. One comes back carrying a bomb and blows up a bunch of them. Rogue finally appears, takes down the last survivor, and disappears again. Crawford and another agent, Wick, arrive at the scene soon after. Crawford patches up one of the injured guys and gets him to admit that Rogue was behind the attack. Back at the FBI office, they gather their team, including an agent named Maria, to figure out what's going on. They suspect Rogue betrayed the Yakuza and their leader, Shiro. Meanwhile, Rogue heads to the California home of Chong, a triad big shot. Chong compliments Rogue for wiping out the Yakuza assassins, but questions his loyalty. Rogue insists he works alone, so Chong sends 2 guys to tail him. In Japan, Shiro ends up in a sword fight at his home. During the fight, a young boy points a gun at Shiro, but quickly backs down. Shiro calms him down, smacks him, and leaves with his daughter, Kira. He tells her to look after the horses, mentioning a shipment to San Francisco, a detail Rogue also knows about. At the same time, Crawford sneaks into an underground boxing club and meets a guy named Benny, who's skilled in making bullets. In a private room, Benny tells Rogue that 2 face reconstruction surgeons have died mysteriously, and a 3rd is missing. Things start to get even more tangled when the triads are shown loading horses into trucks. The police surround the convoy and begin search. A shady police captain assures everything is fine, but suddenly, under Rogue's orders, the triads get ambushed and wiped out. Turns out, Chang's men, following Rogue, stole a bunch of gold that was supposed to go to Shiro. Later, real cops and Crawford show up at the pier and see the aftermath of the ambush. Crawford tells the team that pretending to be the cops is how the Yakuza got taken down so easily. The next day, the FBI meets the corrupt police captain at a restaurant. Crawford confronts him and finds out his family was threatened, which is why he went along with the plan. Just as they step outside, a gunshot rings out and hits the captain. Rogue makes a run for it, and Crawford chases him through the streets, eventually tackling him through a window, but Rogue vanishes. The next day, Crawford gets a strange call from Rogue, who uses voice-changing tech and gives up the location of a stolen shipment, Chang's warehouse. The FBI and police move in with a warrant. They find Chang surrendering and only one man inside, Rogue, now calling himself Victor Shaw. He stays quiet during the interrogation, even when Crawford brings up Tom's family's murder. With nothing tying him to the crimes, the team has to let him go. Chang is still unaware that Rogue might be the one feeding the FBI info. Days later, Rogue is toying with his gun when Chang's daughter shows up. Her mother warns Rogue not to mix business with family. That night, a Yakuza biker causes a huge mess in Triad territory. The 2 gangs clash violently, and Rogue watches from a distance before joining in and finishing off the last Triad member himself. Chang wasn't messing around. He told Rogue straight up that payback was a bad idea, too dangerous. But still, he trusted Rogue enough to give him a huge job. Keep his family safe when all hell breaks loose. Not long after that, Rogue found himself face to face with a Yakuza guy, someone whose brother he had already taken out. Instead of another bullet, Rogue handed him a matchbox. Inside, coordinates to a secret Yakuza safe house. Meanwhile, the FBI had already set up surveillance at that same safe house. Through their lenses, they spotted a crew of Yakuza guys gathering inside, having a good time. But then the triads, ignoring Chang's strict orders to hold back, launched a surprise attack. The peaceful tea house instantly turned into a full-on war zone. The triads went savage, blasting through flimsy paper walls, tearing the place apart. Chaos erupted as the Yakuza fought back. Then the FBI barged in too, making it a three-way shootout with bullets flying everywhere. When the dust settled, nearly every Yakuza member was dead. Crawford and Wick arrived just in time to see the carnage. They rushed in and started cuffing triad members, until Rogue showed up and wrecked everything. He took out the captured triads before the FBI could do anything. The distraction gave the rest of the triads a window to escape. Amid the madness, Maria tried to run for her life, and Wick got injured in the chaos. Crawford found himself trapped inside, alone against a storm of enemies. But his quick reflexes and fighting instincts kicked in. One by one, he took down the attackers, finally ending the brawl by taking out the last standing Yakuza member. Just when he thought it was over, he spotted Rogue running off. Determined to catch him, Crawford took off after him, tearing through the streets. It turned into a wild chase. Rogue always seemed one step ahead, but Crawford wasn't letting up. That is until his car crashed hard, totally wrecking it and letting Rogue vanish once again. The next day, Rogue gave Chang a heads up about the betrayals and all the bodies that came with it. Chang wasn't even aware yet that things had spiraled out of control. Rogue returned to the Yakuza, but this time, the tables turned. They wanted him to do something he hadn't expected. Kill Chang, his wife, and their child. No more games. Meanwhile, Benny reached out to Crawford with some intel. They had finally tracked down the third plastic surgeon, this time in Mexico. Crawford and his team flew out and cornered the surgeon, guns out, no nonsense. The doctors spilled the truth. How Rogue's entire face had been surgically reconstructed down to muscle fibers and nerves. He wasn't just hiding in plain sight, he was rebuilt. They now knew who he had become, at least on the outside. Back in Chang's world, he was prepping his family to get out of town when suddenly, a stealthy assassin crept into the mansion. One of Chang's closest guys accused him of turning traitor, and a gunfight broke out. Rogue stormed in right in the nick of time, proving that Chang's loyal right-hand man had been right all along. Bullets flew, chaos everywhere. Outside, more Yakuza soldiers were gunned down by their own crew. Crawford heard all of this from another agent, and realized Rogue had just saved Chang's wife and daughter. Rogue didn't stop there. When the Yakuza demanded proof of their deaths, he instead wiped out the hitmen and let the mother and daughter flee to safety. They made it clear, Rogue had his own agenda. By now, it was obvious that Rogue had been the one stirring the pot between the Yakuza and triads, turning both sides against each other. Things heated up even more when Shiro, the big boss, landed in the city, determined to bring his daughter back to Japan. Crawford tried to confront him with evidence showing Rogue turning against the Yakuza, but Shiro played dumb, denying everything. Later, Rogue met with Shiro at a warehouse, rolling up with a few suitcases supposedly carrying gold horse statues. He had cash, evidence, everything showing he'd betrayed the gang. Shiro, not wasting time, ordered his men to grab Rogue and interrogate him to find out who the surviving wife and child were. What followed was mayhem. Rogue shot one guard and got into an intense fight with the other. Right as Shiro started coming down the stairs, boom, a hidden bomb knocked him down. Then it happened. Katana in hand, Shiro squared up against Rogue, who kept his gun holstered. This wasn't just a fight, it was personal. Rogue finally explained why he turned on them. 3 years earlier, a hit was placed on him, and now he had the upper hand. He pinned Shiro and laid it all out, accusing him of dragging innocent lives, his wife and daughter, into their war. And then, a massive reveal. Rogue wasn't some mystery assassin, he was Tom. Yes, the same Tom who had supposedly been killed years ago. After the attack on his family, he survived, got surgery to become someone new, and had been biding his time to take Shiro down. Shiro, realizing who was under the new face, claimed Crawford was the real traitor, saying he handed Tom over. Rage boiled in Tom's eyes. He remembered everything, his wife, his child, their deaths. The next day, Chang's wife received a gift, a box containing a golden horse and a message to start a new life. Meanwhile, Kira, Shiro's daughter, opened her own box, only to find something horrifying, her father's severed head. That was Rogue's final message. Tom, now back in control of his identity, called Crawford and set a meeting at the same docks where everything began. Crawford showed up, tense, prepared for whatever might happen. He even had a sniper watching from above. But when he confronted Rogue and tried to force answers out of him, Rogue disarmed him in a blink and launched into a no-holds-barred fight. They clashed like warriors, fists flying, no mercy. Crawford managed to put Tom in a chokehold, and that's when Tom dropped the truth. He was Tom all along. Crawford couldn't believe it. As he looked into Rogue's eyes, the truth finally hit him hard. Everything he thought he knew was a lie. But it was too late. The sniper took aim at Tom, ready to finish it. At the last moment, Crawford threw himself in the path, taking a bullet to protect the man who used to be his best friend. In the final scene, Tom, aka Rogue, walks away from the dock, briefcase in hand, leaving behind a storm of betrayal, loss, and vengeance.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel for more beautiful recaps like this. Put down your comments below to let me know what you think about the turn of events in this storyline. And also give my video a thumbs up to further motivate me. Share too for others to enjoy. Until my next recap, cheers!